So this month we'll be talking about the misconception. Oh, thank you very much. We'll be talking about misconception um that is quietly destroying homes, and this is a very sensitive topic to me because most of it still stems from the mindset that we've had over the years, how we think, what informed our thought process, and the uh the funny part of it is most of these things, some of us have said one or two things, or have uh think in a certain direction that is pointing at these things. I want to tell you that this is not like calling people out or making you feel somehow. It's just a way of calling our attention to it. I have to do this disclaimer first, and everything we are going to, learn here is basically and strictly for education. If any clarification is needed about, reversing something and doing, you know, uh, a reformative work, you definitely need a counselor or a therapist to help in that regard. Having said that, once again, my name is Seun Siyanbola, the family system catalyst. Uh, the genesis of destruction, most of the time, is always from the mind. Nobody wakes up and say, you know what, I want to destroy my home or I want to destroy my family. But most of the times, what causes those things to happen, there are even things that we don't even take cognizance of. We call some things self-sabotaging behavior. Self-sabotaging behavior emanates every time from self-sabotaging thoughts. And self-sabotaging thoughts emanate from what you've learned from other people that are self-sabotaging themselves, and unconsciously most of the time. How many of you have I would like you to put that in the chat box if you are on this table that I'm about to shake now. How many of you have used this word, men has come before, or you've heard it, someone say it somewhere? If you've heard that before, just put it in the chat box, let me know. Aha. So many people have grown up to say, oh, man has come, and unconsciously you end up attracting scum, just like you've professed to yourself. Man has come, put in your mind, it grows a mindset, whereby your thought process has been affected. And all you think about is, well, I think I should pick the lesser cheater, the one that won't cheat on me the most, the one that won't be a villain. But at the end of the day, all of them has come. I think that's fallacy of hasty generalization. So these are the things I'm talking about. We might think is not, you might think, in the world where we live now, I call it the world of cruise. So everything about us is cruise, 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 and cruise. So we always think, okay, yeah, everything is cruise. But in the real sense, everything is not cruise. In the real sense. Can you still hear me? Can you hear me? All right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. So I'm seeing some display here that is really. I'm so sorry for today. It's really not a good thing for me. But we go on. So now the genesis of destruction from the background that I've given is the mind. Anything that will grow, anything that will remain stunted, anything that will become better starts from the mind. And if you cannot think it, you cannot see it. If you cannot talk about it, you cannot see it manifest. But out of the abundance of mind, the mouth speaks. So what you repeatedly say, you eventually start to believe it. And the moment you start believing it, you start to live it out. And the moment you live it out, over and over, it becomes a pattern. And when you activate patterns, they look for a way to repeat themselves. That's why they are called patterns. I like Rav Waldo Emerson's quote, and I've used it so many times. It says, sow a thought and you reap an action. Sow an act and you reap a habit. Sow a habit, you reap a character. Sow a character and you reap a destiny. In other words, every destiny of every relationship and marriage rise and fall on what you think about and what you talk about. I made a conscious decision in my own family that never are we going to talk about divorce. Because the moment you talk about it, you will see things that will make you act in that direction. So it's best when you don't even talk about what you don't want to see. Because what you talk about, you will definitely see it. So don't even start by first thinking about it. I'm going somewhere with this and it will all make sense when I join it together. But I just want you to know the genesis, the foundation of every destruction of every home, every relationship starts from your thoughts, then to your words, then to your action, to your habit. That's when it has become a pattern. Then to your character. Then the result you will see it in your destiny. The destiny of your marriage, the destiny of your home. So if you are not married, the best thing you can do for yourself is to confess only what you want to see. Even when you are seeing things that does not look like what you want to see, you confess what you want to see, because you still have the opportunity to write it. That if you are married and you are in this kind of situation, the best thing you can do is to confess and to take action that leads towards what you want to see. Even when you are seeing otherwise, you say what you want to see. Am I making sense? Right. Most of the time, we think that the problem we have in marriages are based on the things that are happening now. I think I spoke about this last week, last month in our session. I said something that most of the people that fight in marriage, most of the time when we fight or have conflict in marriage, these things are because of one thing. Or let me say, most of the time, they are not based on the things that are happening now. Most of the conflict are based on the things that are happening, that has happened in the past, that are manifesting themselves now, because we see things that trigger them. So misconception, destroying your marriage, is not something that was imported from outside. It's something that has lived inside you for so many years, but looking for a way to manifest themselves. You might think you are exonerated for some of the effect of it now, until in the future, when you realize or when you see things that triggers it, then that's when you know that I think it is not what I really think. So let us be conscious of the thought process that is producing the things we are seeing in our marriage. If you trace every issues out in marriage, you will trace it back to a thought that produced it. Now, for this session, there are two things we want to achieve, and we will do it as fast as we can. We will expose few common misconceptions in homes, like in our mindset, in our thought process. We expose those common misconceptions. Then the second thing we'll do is I'll show you how to break the power of those misconceptions in your life now, in real life. And I want you to follow keenly, because this will change a lot of homes. And if you are not married, this will put your home in a course, or in the right course, in the right direction. Now, there are four major things, four major roots of every misconception and how they manifest. Misconception manifests itself as ego. It manifests itself as avoidance. It manifests itself as entitlement. It manifests itself as neglect. So it might be ego and pride for some people. Some people, you might not even know you are avoiding some things in your marriage, in your relationship. Until we get there, I'll show you some of the statements or some of the thought process that come to you that shows you that these are the statements or ideology that will give birth to avoidance in your marriage, to entitlement in your marriage, to neglect in your marriage. And I want you to pay rapt attention to this. First, I want us to examine ego and pride. Some people, or some of us might have used this statement before: I am not the one who should apologize. I want to ask a sarcastic question, a rhetorical question. If you are not the one to apologize, then who should? Most of the time, we'll see other people in marriage, or the other party in marriage, in a home, in a relationship, we see them as the problem. You extend grace to yourself by saying, well, the reason why I do this is because I don't have option. I'll use an example. It's not a good example to say, but imagine someone in prostitution. It is easier for you to judge someone who is a prostitute, that what they are doing is not right, until you find yourself in the position that pushed them into prostitution. So you judge yourself by your own circumstance. You extend grace to yourself, but you judge other people from the lens of what you see. So when you say you can't apologize, it's a sign of ego and pride. I say, oh, that's how I am. That's who we are. We don't apologize in my family. Then it can start from you. Someone started that act, but it can start from you. Like I said, disclaimer from the beginning, it's not me calling you out. It's just trying to let you see the reason why you need to reshape yourself and become the person you need to be. So if you don't apologize, it's high time you start learning to apologize, because by you not saying sorry, you are not even allowing your partner to find closure when you've wronged them. There is a lot of wounds sorry will heal, but sorry does not heal every wound. Changing the way you behave heal some. I don't want to deviate. Changing one of the some of the things you do is what we say sorry to your partner sometimes. But sometimes the word, oh, I'm sorry, will change a lot of things. Sometimes it can even change the course of conversation when it comes to misunderstanding. Sorry can change the course of a conversation. So if you are not the one to apologize, then who will? I'll use an analogy. Imagine drawing a circle. If you want to have a misunderstanding, before it becomes a full-blown misunderstanding, it must complete a cycle. And the full cycle does not belong to one person. You hold half, the other person holds half. So if the person triggers you, if you don't complete the other half that belongs to you, there will not be conflict. But the moment you complete the other cycle and it becomes a full cycle, then definitely you should expect a conflict. So there are some arguments. Am I saying sweep things under the carpet using sorry? No. What I'm saying in essence is sometimes sorry will bring peace momentarily while you look for the best possible way to express that thing that's really hurting you. Because sometimes the reason why I put that even in red is because sometimes when people say things when it's really hurting them, they end up saying what they should not say. And when you say what you should not say, you would get the answer that will shock you, that will even escalate the matter beyond proportion. But is it not better to say, oh, sorry, then when you get to bed at night, you would have thought about it and you would have looked for a better way to present the case that will make your partner understand what you are saying in a better way. So in that way, you are putting your ego and pride aside and saying sorry momentarily. You've lost a fight, but at the end of the day, you are winning a battle. So which one would you like? Win a fight and lose the battle, or lose the fight and win a battle? They don't share spoil in fight, but in battle they do. Now, another one is, I didn't do anything wrong. If you say you didn't do anything wrong, every conflict, like I said earlier, you must contribute something as a party in it, no matter how small. Don't say you are not wrong. I didn't do anything wrong is a statement of ego and pride. For you to believe you didn't do anything wrong, that means you are portraying yourself as the perfect one. Then you are turning the table around to the other person as the imperfect one. Instead of you to say, I did not do anything wrong, just say, well, I admit the part of my own, I admit my wrong, but this and this. And when you are saying it, you don't even need to castigate the other person and make them feel less of themselves. You can just say, oh, I admit I am wrong in this area. You might not even point out their own wrong. The moment you admit your own wrong, what you are doing is you are disarming the person from even coming for your wrong. I think I saw a banter on X some times ago between Ghana and Nigeria. Immediately the banter started. The next thing I saw Nigerians doing is, oh, the next thing you tell us is we don't have light, we don't have this, we don't have that. And Nigerians started talking about their own problem by themselves. Then when the Ghanaians are coming back in the banter for them, they were like, Nigerians know how to fight online because they would have abused themselves. You won't have any other thing to say about them again. That's just typically of when you admit your own wrong, that's what happens to the other person. You disarm them because the moment fight starts or misunderstanding starts, the other person is thinking about how to defend themselves against you. Everybody's emotional wall of defense comes up the moment you attack what they are doing. So it is normal, their defense comes up immediately. So in other words, for you not to engage in that kind of situation with them, in any altercation with them, excuse me, for you not to engage in any altercation with them, the best thing you can do is, okay, you know what? It's my fault. I admit I was supposed to have do this and that. But now that I've realized, don't worry, I'll fix it. After fixing it, you can come back and politely tell me that I admit that I'm wrong here, but I just think if you had done this, and this wouldn't have happened. You know, it's not every time you say, oh, if you give me hot, I give you hot. At the end of the day, you will all bond yourself together. You end up by a barbecue. So Another one is that's just how I am. I think that one is a language of, sorry to say, is a language of a heart that is not ready to change. Can you change anybody? You don't let me go ahead of myself. You can't change anybody, but people can decide to change when the things you are doing is hurting another person. Another statement of ego and pride. This is not the exhaustive list. I have much more, but I just want to stick to this because of the time frame we are working with. If they don't like it, that's their problem. You know, most people say this a lot of times. That's their problem. That's their problem. There is an adage where I'm from that if 20 goes, 30 will come back. I don't know how to interpret that. If anybody that understands English better than me can help me translate that in English in the comment section for the Yoruba people that are not speaking Yoruba. So if you don't like it, that's their problem. If they don't like it, that's their problem. That one in itself is a statement of pride, because like I said earlier, one thing about ego or pride is you always project yourself as the better person. The moment you start seeing yourself as the better person than the other party in your relationship, in your marriage, check your pridometer. Your pride is on the increase. Your ego is on the increase. And most of the time, when we are this prideful or when we are being egotistic, it shows that we are using that thing to hide a weakness we don't want others to see. The fact that you say if they don't like it, that's their problem. You know what you are doing to them is hurting them. You know what you are doing to them is affecting them one way or the other. But because you don't want to admit you're wrong, is most time the reason why we just say if they don't like it, then that's their problem. That's how I am. That's me. Now, if you think this is you, there are 4 things that you can do on your own to change this. Number 1, take responsibility quickly. Even if you are partly wrong, take responsibility. Apologize without excuses. You can talk about the thing that you need to explain later. You can express yourself later, but just apologize first, without giving excuses. Choose peace over proving a point. At the end of the day, I always ask, to who are you proving point to? Who are you proving point to in your relationship, in your marriage? When it's just the 2 of you that are there. And last one, reflect on your contribution to every issue and see if your reaction is really worth it. I try as much as possible to do something I learned from a friend. After every misunderstanding in marriages, in your relationship, if you can sit down and replay everything that happened from beginning to the end, I'm very sure even you will look at yourself and be like, oh, I messed up. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. And when you reflect on it and you realize that, go back to your partner and say, you know what? I gave it a second thought and I realized you are wrong. I'm wrong. And for this, and this, I want to say I'm sorry. When you do this, it shows a sign of responsibility to your partner. And it shows that you revere them and you really, really care about how they feel about the situation. And you know what? You've bought yourself another star from them. There's another star on your badge. When you take responsibility, it makes you look even more beautiful. It makes you look more handsome. It makes them trust you more and want to commit themselves to you. If there is any marriage where trust is missing, one of the major key that is missing in the marriage is taking responsibility. If you don't take responsibility, there's no way I can entrust anything to you. You want me to trust you? Take responsibility. First for your life, first for yourself. Then if I see the way you've done your own life, then I can entrust mine into your hand. Am I making sense? If you are still with me, just give me a thumbs up, or you drop a message in the comment section if you are still following. The next thing I want us to talk about are the quote and the mindset that has to do with communication and avoidance. Most people come across and say, well, you should already know you are wrong. You should already know what's wrong. And I'm sorry to say, I don't like being gender biased. Women, most time, if I'm speaking your mind, men, you can just let me know. Women, most of the time, want men to just know what is going on with them. Even when I've asked you, what's wrong with you? And you've told me nothing. And yet, you want me to know what is really wrong with you. If I'm right, you can let me know if I'm right. And if I'm wrong, I will definitely agree that I'm wrong. But most of the clients I've worked with, when people come to me, especially women, they'll be like, he can't tell me he doesn't know what he's doing. And you are looking at the man in the face, and the man is looking at you sincerely and saying, I don't know what I've wrong. I don't know what I've done wrong. You can easily just tell me, okay, this is what I've done wrong. But most of them, they believe men should know the wrong that they've done. My dear, it doesn't work that way. And even men too, sometimes, you just start giving silent treatment. You start walking about the house. You stop eating food in the house. You start doing all sorts of things for her to know that she's wrong. But does it really cost us anything to just say, this is what you've done, or this is what I'm expecting from you to do? So if you say you should already know what's wrong, well, newsflash, I don't know. Tell me. So once you start saying this, it's a sign of poor communication in the marriage. If you say things like, I don't want to talk about it, that's a huge sign of avoidance. You're avoiding conversation about that thing. And whatever it is that you sweep under the carpet, a time will come when the carpet will blow up and the whole situation will blow up in your face. You know, I've read so many divorce cases, and I've studied so many things about divorce. One thing I discovered about people that divorce the most is the first thing that breaks is communication. Because the moment you lose that ground on communication, what you are inviting to yourself is you go from soulmate to bedmate, from bedmate to roommate, from roommate to housemate, and from housemate you are heading towards the exit of the marriage. So it is very important to even take communication very, very strongly when it comes to relationships, marriages, and homes, and not just between husband and wife, husband, wife, and children. There must be a cordial coordination of how to communicate the mode of operation in the house. There should be a time where you sit down as a family and you have conversation amongst yourself. We call it open day. Have an open day where children will talk to their father's face and say, Daddy, this is what you've done wrong that we don't like. Mommy, this is what you've done wrong that we don't like. Once you create this avenue, everybody will be happy, because everybody is waiting for a day where nobody will judge them and they will be able to speak their mind the way it is. Not disrespectful, not in a disrespectful way, not in arrogance or in a prideful way, but everybody needs to communicate in the family. The moment communication jump out of the room, then there is nothing that will unite anybody again. So when you avoid to talk about serious issue. When we talk about money, when we talk about sex in marriage, when we talk about any issue that has to do with the home, the moment you sweep it under the carpet by saying, I don't want to talk about it, what you are saying is, I want this thing one day to blow up in my face. Because most divorces that are happening now, they call it no-fault divorce. The reason why most people divorce, they call it irreconcilable differences. And irreconcilable differences always, most times, emanate from communication problem. Because I don't believe there is any difference that is irreconcilable. So when you don't talk about it, what you are saying is, I'm happy for this thing to stay like this until it blows up in our faces. And let me give you an example. Today, I talk to you in a way you don't like, but because you don't want me to feel bad, you swept it under the carpet. Tomorrow, I said the same thing. I sweep it under the carpet. You never told me you don't like it. Then one day you come up and you say, that's how you always do. You do this, you do that, you do that, you do that. On this day, you did this. On that day, you did it. The moment you don't talk about it, you keep record of evil. And the moment you start keeping the record of evil, you are giving evil the opportunity to thrive. Because you don't just keep the record, you keep the record of it in your heart, in your head, in the book, and you think about it and you multiply it. Then from one line of insult that the person ran on you, you will build a paragraph. And from one paragraph, because you are ruminating on it every time, you build a page. And from a page, you build a book about it. Then remember what I said from the start. Every ideology, every misconception, every destruction starts from what? The thought, then to the words, then from words to the act, and from act, it penetrates into destiny. Another one is, let's just leave it. You are in a conversation, you don't want to get to the end of it. It's okay if you leave it for a while, just for the whole atmosphere to be cool and calm. Then you come back to it later and you say, you know what, can we talk about this? Some people, they even have a method. They have a chair in the house. Anybody that sits on that chair first will be the one to talk, and the person will listen all through. So instead of you saying just leave it, when you leave it, it's okay to leave it for a while, then come back to it. And when I mean a while, 24, 48 hours is okay. Not leaving it for a year, then you come back. That was how you did in December 23rd, 2023. And I was really pained. Why didn't you say it then? What you are telling the other person when you keep record of evil, or when you sweep things under the carpet, what you are telling them is, well, you know what? I'm holding everything you've done for me. And the person will become so scared of you. And you start walking on eggshell. And the moment you start walking on eggshell in your marriage, in your relationship, you can't talk freely, you can't say things the way you feel, then you are in the brooder house of trouble. Another one is, you start saying, every time we talk, it becomes an argument. So it's best for me to keep quiet. Then when you keep quiet, you sweep it under the carpet, one day, even yourself, your mental health will tell you when it's about to blow up in your face. Because if I am punching a spot every day, there will come a time when the dent will be visible. It will take a toll on you. So instead of you avoiding this communication, avoiding this problem, why not bring them out? Talk about it. Except in extenuating circumstances, there are some rare occasion when you need to speak with a counselor, and the counselor will tell you, okay, do this, do that. Don't speak with them yet. Just do this, do that. But that's a professional telling you, okay, these are the solutions that are useful, in this kind of circumstance. But on a normal ground, when it's just a misunderstanding, come on, we need to speak. Talk about it. Talk it over. If it's becoming an argument, you keep quiet, listen to the person. Let them talk. By the time they talk themselves out, you will have your own time to talk to. That's where setting family rule, family constitution comes into place. I hope one of these days we'll have time to talk about family constitution, setting a family constitution, building a family vision, and all those things. I think we've talked about it before, but we can bring it back and talk about it, holistically. And if you find yourself in this avoidance situation or communication problem, these are some of the things you need to do. Instead of assume the other party should know what you are thinking or what you know, express your feeling clearly. Let the person know that this is how I'm feeling and this is why I'm feeling this way. Not you accusing the person, not coming at the person, not blaming the person. Just make, you made me feel, instead of you are a bad person. You're always, no. Come back and say, you know what? Because you did this, and this, you made me feel this, and this. The person, what you are doing is you are triggering the person's reasoning process. But the moment you come with an attack, it is natural for me to defend myself. That's why most of the time you say, oh, he doesn't listen. The moment I want to talk, he doesn't listen. No. It's not because he doesn't want to listen. It's the mode of presentation. Which brings me to choosing the right time to talk. I've just come back from work, hungry, tired, and that's the time you want to talk about the conflict that we had in the morning. No, that's not the best time. What happens to, okay, my dear babe, whatever you call, I see you are tired. Can I massage your legs? Take her heels. She's been wearing heels since morning. I think it's high time for men to start bringing out the softness in them, because inside everybody is both soft and hardware. Bring that softness out. Tell your wife, bring your leg, put her leg in water, massage her leg, massage her back, let her feel good. Then when you are in bed about to sleep, just say, can I have do I have a minute to just say something to you? And who said you must talk about it that day when it's paining you? Sometimes talking about it needs the right time, the right place, and the right atmosphere. Some of the people that I've worked with, some of them always choose I had a conversation with, in fact, I did not even work with this person. She's my friend. We just had the conversation. I was like, every time I'm speaking to my husband, or anytime I tell my husband, or oh wow, like there is something I want to talk about. When he comes home, he doesn't even want to listen to anything. He'll raise his head up. He will come home like, I don't even want to hear anything. Then I told her, I said, you don't plan converse. The moment you tell a man, we need to talk, he's already thinking of 1,010 things that he might have done wrong. Then the way you talk to him before matters. Probably the way you talk to him, you come in the spirit of attack. You want to attack what he's doing every time. He will never listen to you. Why not try this? Instead of say, oh, we need to talk. Be sending out sweet things. Just send that text. Oh, hope your day is good. Hope you are doing fine. How long will it take you to get home? What do you want to eat? How do you want it? Then let him come back. Give him food. Give him everything. Don't tell him or I say, you know what? I have something I want to tell you. He will listen. And the thing is, don't always do these things. Those are things. Don't always do these things anytime you have to talk. Just choose random day. Pamper him. Make him feel good. When he feels good, he'll feel safe. The reason why he doesn't want to have a conversation with you is because he doesn't feel safe having conversation with you. Someone asked me, why do men lie? Even when you've caught them red-handed. And I told the person, the reason why men lie to you is because they know you cannot handle the truth. If you show you can handle the truth, they will come to you with the truth. So prove yourself worthy of hearing the truth. then everybody will, he will definitely endure and trust you with the truth. So stay in difficult conversation. Don't always run. Don't always sweep it under the carpet. And I must say, when we were talking about patterns and cycle, some of the coping mechanism that some people build because they grew up in a toxic environment, in a toxic situation, because they grew up in places like this, it has made them to build a coping mechanism whereby they bail themselves out of a difficult conversation so as to protect themselves in that period. But you are now married, you are now in a safe place, you are now in a relationship. You need to unlearn those coping mechanisms that has brought you to the point where you avoid difficult conversation to face it. And the first thing you need to do is by letting yourself know always that you are safe now, you are in a safe place. Another thing is seek to understand, not just respond. A lot of people in most conversation, most people just want to listen to respond to the other person. We don't practice active listening. Active listening is when you don't talk back at the person. You listen to what the person is saying, not what you assume the person is saying. And this thing is the genesis of so many conflict in homes, in marriages. Most people come into marriage and they assume what the other person is saying. Okay, for example, I'm telling you that you shouldn't have put the shield there. And the next thing he says, I'm daft now. I'm stupid. Did he say that? He's only telling you, that's just an example. He's only telling you, okay, this is what I think you should do. Then you'll be like, oh, the reason why you can just answer, the reason why I put it here is because I want to wear it in the next 10 minutes again. That's why I put it where I can easily get it. Simple as that. It doesn't have to be difficult. Unrealistic expectations. Excuse me. Some of us find ourselves in having unrealistic expectation, and we believe if someone really loves you, they will change. That's a future impossible tense. People change because they want to change. For anybody that have passed through me when before marriage or maybe during their courtship period, if you meet me, the first thing I want to say is, if you don't want to marry a drunkard, don't marry someone that drinks once in a while. If you don't want to marry a womanizer, a cheater, don't marry someone that will not, give you access to some space in their life. So now you now see the red flag, you see the red banner and the red sea, and you've chosen by yourself that don't worry, by the time I marry them because they love me, they will change. They will never change until they decide to change. So if someone asks you to marry them, for the people that are not married, if someone asks you, oh, you marry me, by the time you marry me, I will change for you. No, let them change for themselves first and verify that they've changed for themselves before you can now say, I will marry you. And that period, when they are trying to work on themselves, when they are trying to change, you reverse back, give them space to change, so that you'll be sure that the change is genuine and not because of you. So when people really love you, people don't change. If they change, or they pretend to change, it will only last for a while. And it won't make sense when I'm taking time to talk to the singles, so it doesn't look like we are talking, only to the married. When you expect them to change and they are not changing, if it's something you cannot cope with, take a bow. Someone cannot slap you once in relationship twice in a relationship and you believe because they love you, they will change. No, no, don't do that to yourself. If you believe in this unrealistic expectation that marriage will make things better, that's a lie. Marriage, like I said last session, marriage doesn't make things better. Marriage exposes your weakness to you, even things that you don't know. A lot of people, including myself, I always think I'm perfect before I got married. Then I started seeing my imperfection in the perfection of marriage. I think I said it last week. I don't know how to give gift, and I don't see anything bad in me not giving you gift on your birthday, on your anniversary. I don't see anything bad in it until I got married. Then I know the gravity of forgetting your wife's birthday or you not buying gift on your wife's birthday. You see, things like this, you know, marriage in itself, okay. If you want to understand more about this, you can just go on the last month session. You can listen to it. I described how marriage will expose things to you that you should be doing, that you did not even know exist in your life. And I explained how to make things better in the video. Yanni, you can just put the link in the chat box for anybody that does not have access to it. So most of the time, marriage will not make things better. Marriage will expose you the more to the things you need to do. So if you are not whole, work on yourself. Which links me to you're saying you are supposed to make me happy. Sorry, marriage is not created to make you happy. Marriage is for companionship. Two happy people, two whole people, two two people with good vision that they can synchronize together. Those are the people that will be happy and will stay happy in marriage. So you are not God didn't create you to make another person happy. You are the source of your own happiness. If you cannot be happy by yourself, in fact, you make the other person unhappy because you will bleed on the other person. I made an analogy in our last session. A cup, you know, if your own cup is half full and the other person's cup is half full, if you turn the cup into the other person's cup and their own cup is full, by that time your own cup is empty. And if you pour, but if the person pours back into you, your own cup is full and their own is empty. So two empty people or two half full people can never attain wholeness. But when two whole people come together, my cup is full, your cup is full, we can easily, you know, uh, help one another. Sorry, please, can I take like a 2 minutes break, please? Please. Yeah, sorry about that, please. I'm so sorry. So when you are supposed to make me happy, or I am supposed to make you happy, there is high probability that we will both end up unhappy. So instead of you waiting for the other person to make you happy, why not dig your own well of happiness? Become whole yourself. Then you be a source of happiness to the person. And the person is whole too. The person will become a source of happiness to you too. Love is not enough. Another one is love is enough. It's an unrealistic expectation. I cannot, you cannot say love is enough because love in itself is a concept. Love is in itself is a concept. And if I ask everybody now that what is love to you, most of the things people talk about and people call love in itself is, all these butterfly feelings inside of you. And you start feeling good about yourself, you start feeling flat about yourself, then you are really fond of each other, sharing this, sharing that together. That in itself is not love. What you feel initially is attraction. You are attracted to each other. Then from attraction, it builds up. Then it starts growing into love. So love covers multitude of evil, multitude of sin. Don't let me go into that, because if I go into that now, we start unraveling love. I just hope maybe one of these sessions will be able to talk about love in itself as a concept. But love is not enough, because to love, you need to add other virtue. To love, you need to add understanding. To love, you need to add wisdom. To love, you need to add compassion. To love, you need to add consideration. There are so many other ingredients around. I would say to have a successful marriage, love for each other is only about 20 to 25%. That's why you hear some people say, oh, we love each other, but I don't think it will work. And the reason why people think it will not work, or it did not work eventually, is because they agree they loved each other, but there are some things that love cannot give them. If I'm making sense, just let me know. Give me a thumbs up. I'll go into the things that you need to do if you find yourself in having unrealistic expectation. Number one is you need to communicate your expectation clearly to the other person. Let me know what you expect of me. If I know what is expected of me, I will know if I can give it to you. And if I cannot give it to you, we take a bow and we walk away. But you now having the expectation without communicating your expectation, unmet expectation brings disappointment. And disappointment brings a broken heart. And a broken heart will cause more problem. So it is best, if you have any expectation of your husband, if you have any expectation from your husband, from your spouse, from the person you're in a relationship with, it is best you communicate it. I need you to do this. My wife spelled it out to me. I want you to give me gift. That was when I know that I think I'm missing something. Then we took our test, love language, this, and that. There are some, psychometric tests that I do for people. If you want to take it, you yourself and your husband, you can reach out to me. You can put my email there. If you're on the WhatsApp group, you can put my number, my WhatsApp number. Please, you can put my WhatsApp number, put my email. If you want to take this psychometric test, you and your husband, most time it will expose the problem that is going on in your family to you. It will even explain yourself to yourself. Some of you think you know yourself, but you don't. So if you are happy, or if you want to take this, you and your husband, you can take it. I'll write the report, give it to you. Then if you want to speak to, if you want to speak further, then we can take it up. So doing this, and I advise people to even do it like every year or twice a year as a family, not because there is a problem, but because people change every time. Don't let me get ahead of myself. When we are talking about personal growth, I think that's what we are talking about next. If we are talking about personal growth, when we are talking about personal growth, I will let you understand some of the concept around growth and how growth in the family or personal growth of individual in marriage can even sabotage the marriage in itself. So take responsibility for your own happiness. Address issues directly. Don't attack person. I always use this example. If you look behind me, you'll see a plant pot. Now, let's assume you are one of those plant pots, and there is weed growing all around inside the pot of those plants. What do I do? Will I uproot the flower, or I uproot the weed that's growing around the plant? Obviously, I will definitely deal with the weed. You are the plant, your husband is the plant. You don't attack the plant because weed are growing around it. You attack the weed so that the plant can grow. So in the same way, you don't attack your husband because of the things that they are doing. You attack the things that they are doing so that they can become a better person. Then you become happier too in the marriage. So address issues directly, not person. Don't call him a liar. Address the lying. Don't call him a evil person. Address the evil. Because the moment you say you are a liar, you have painted his personality as everything this person embodied or represent is a lie. But the fact that I lied to you does not mean that I am a liar. The fact that your husband lied to you does not mean he is a liar. But when you attack the lie, he will be able to tell you that the reason why I lied is because if I tell you the truth, this same thing you are doing is what's going to be your response. And the reason why some people don't get to hear deep things from their husband is because their husband believe they cannot handle the depth. The reason why your wife is not telling you everything you need to know, including the people that are throwing advances at her outside, is because he knows you are going to act she knows you are going to act irrational. You are going to start blowing hot. So let's not attack person. Address issues directly, not persons. Another thing is allow people to grow without pressure. So when you have expectation of people that this is what I want you to do for me, these are my expectation of you, give them time to first internalize it. We've spoken about how personality affect how we conflict. Some people, when you tell them things, they don't agree, they don't accept it, or they don't start effecting changes immediately. They need time to grow. They need time to grow into who you want them to be. So appreciate every step of improvement that you see in their life as a token of appreciation towards the effort they are making to grow into the person you want them to be. But if every time you talk about how not enough that they are, a time will come when that not enough mindset you've planted in them will grow, and they will no longer even want to change, because criticism weary people. It makes them don't want to try. It makes them not want to try again. So give yourself that restraint to allow people grow without you pressurizing them to grow. You've talked about it. I need you to always show the door. There's a particular person that I know. He grew up in a polygamous home. And in a polygamous home, they are over 30 in their house, and they don't close door because you don't know who is inside and who is not inside yet. So they don't close the main door. They got married, and everybody, the wife is always talking about it. Oh, you need to lock the door. You need to lock the door. But he is nonchalant about the door. He might leave the main entrance door open and go to bed. But the wife, on the other hand, grew up in a military house. The dad is a military officer. The dad will walk around, shut the door, do this, do that, make sure everywhere is secure before he goes to bed. Then this became the source of their first, set of problem that they are having. At a point, the wife had to spell it out. When they went to meet counselor, that was when the counselor let them know that the reason why this is happening is because of the different background that you both have. So he now had to consciously learn how to be security conscious in order to help the wife become who she should become, or in order to allow the family to run the way it should run, I mean to say. So the husband was given time to become who the wife wants him to become without pressure. Then now he's now even more security conscious than where the wife is coming from. So in other words, allow people to grow without you putting pressure on them, without making them feel bad or making them feel inferior or making them feel less of themselves. When you put people down, there is no way they will behave to you the way you've addressed them. Inside everybody is a king and a fool. The one you appeal to is what you see. So if you appeal to the king in him, you will see the king in him. If you appeal to the fool is what you will see. Talking about talking about personal growth, there are some quotes that will say, "This is just who I am." I want to ask a question. Are you still the same person you were 2 years ago? Of course not. The same way, in fact, when you woke up this morning and you stepped out, you are not the same person when you come back inside, despite the fact that you only spent 1 hour outside. You'll say, how do I mean? You've seen things, you've heard things in stepping out within an hour. By the time you are coming back inside, you have new information that your mind is processing when you come back inside. So it's impossible for you to tell me that this is just who you are, because I know the same person you were yesterday is not the person you are today. So it is because you choose not to grow. That's why you believe you are still who you used to be. So when you start saying statement of, oh, this is just who I am, is a statement that if you keep saying it to yourself, you remember I said a thought becomes words. Words becomes, your words becomes an act. So the moment you start saying this is who I am, what you are saying to yourself is your brain should process it and act that way, that we don't want change. We just want to stay like this. So when it comes to personal growth, you have to set in place evaluation metric for yourself. Where was I last year? Like, have a retreat. Ask yourself, where was I last year? Where am I this year? Have I made any progress? Quarterly review. Okay, these are the goals I've set for myself. Have I met them? Now, this is where it becomes tricky in marriage. When you choose to grow and you don't carry your partner along in your growth process, there is high probability you outgrow them. And when you outgrow them, you'll be behaving from the new person you are. But they will not understand. Then you start saying, oh, he has changed. She has changed. She's now another person entirely. And I don't even understand who he or she has become. No. That's because you are not carrying your partner along in your growth process. Now you've got, imagine you got married when your partner is just a level 1 manager, then grew up to become a board member in a multinational company. The thought process has changed. The mindset has shifted. In fact, the routine has shifted. The routine has changed entirely. So when those things happen, there is high probability that because the routine has changed, it will affect how they care for people in the home. So instead of you to build a system that still help you people do the same thing you do, but in a different way or within a different time frame, it becomes a problem. That's when growth becomes a problem to the marriage. But when you are growing, maybe I saw a book, How to Be the Wife of an Expatriate. That's someone that was a wife of an expatriate that wrote the book. It's a book by Aya Lawrence. When you are an expatriate's wife, there are some things that you discover. You start moving from one place to another, from one country to the other, from one point to the other. No stable home, no stable school for your children, no stable environment. You are moving from one place to the other. You need a new mindset to cope with that. Yes, they are happy. The husband is growing. His career is booming. But at the end of the day, the career growth is affecting the people in the home. Then how do you cope with this growth? So the misconception that, oh, I don't want to change or people don't change will quietly destroy that kind of home, because you need another system in place to help you cope with the new person you are becoming. So at every stage you get to, you need to tell yourself that change is the only constant thing in my life. I can change, I can adapt. Change how you tell yourself. Don't say this is who I am. It's only God that does not change. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. But you are not God. We are growing towards perfection, brighter and brighter, better and better. So if you don't admit that I need to change, there is high possibility of you grounding your family, because if your husband or your wife should become better than who they are today, you might not have the capacity to cope with it because you've said no to change. So you need to tell yourself, I can change. In fact, I will change. I read a book long time ago. It's about how the brain works. And the person was saying, it was talking about the things people say to themselves and how it affects the outcome that comes out of their life. And the person said, the moment you tell yourself that I can't grow, or I can do it, you set your brain in motion immediately to start looking for how to do it. But if you tell your brain, can we do it? Or should I do it? Your brain is designed to keep you permanently safe. So if you don't task your brain by saying, how do I do it? Your brain will not set itself in motion to look for solution. If you say, should I do it? Your brain will definitely say no, because your brain prefers to enjoy and lounge. So what am I saying in essence? Change is constant. Change changes with every new circumstance, with every new situation you find yourself. Change is needed in any circumstance or any situation you find yourself. If you believe you should not change, or you don't change, or I don't need to change, or you believe people don't change, there is high probability you might self-sabotage yourself, or even sabotage your own home or marriage. Because when your husband or your wife grows and you don't measure up with the growth, there is high probability that they start seeing you less of who they are seeing you as. So when your husband is growing, ensure to be growing with them. When your wife is growing, ensure to be growing with them, so you can match up. Imagine you thinking at a PhD level and your wife or your husband is thinking at primary school level. The knowledge gap is too big. So anything the PhD level thinker is saying, you will see it as a personal attack on you or trying to attack you because of your lack of knowledge in that field. Instead of you mourn about it, why not level up in his knowledge? If your husband or your wife likes football, invest time in football. If your wife, like, sometimes my wife is a geologist. I don't really, fancy geology as such. I found myself researching about geology so that when we start having conversation about our job, I will have something to say. That's how to keep it up. Not your husband, your wife, my wife talking about Earth and crust region and all those things. And I'm looking like, lost. Another statement that people say, another misconception is it's too late now. Nothing is too late. There is one example I always use. Fatai Rolling Dollar produced his first album at the age of 70. I don't think anybody here is up to 70. So it's not too late to change. I don't need to work on myself. If you don't need to work on yourself, Dr. David Oyedepo always says something. He'll say, if you stop learning, you start dying. So look at your own marriage, look at your relationship, look at your own home. Observe the knowledge gap between yourself and your partner and see how you can bridge it. If you don't know how to bridge it, ask them, how did you know this? How did you know this? Then bridge the gap. Then you will see that you will have more conversation with each other than ever before, because now you are creating interest in their interest. Then what you are doing is drawing them to create interest in your own interest. With that, you will always have what to talk about. So what do you do to improve your personal growth? Reflect regularly on your behavior and see the gap in it. Reflect regularly on your behavior, see the gap in it, and see how you can become better. Growth is the only constant thing. Accept feedback without defensiveness. So when your wife or your husband or your partner come to you and give you feedback about how you've done something and you need to do better, take it with grace. Work with it. Because review, why do you think businesses ask for review every time? Businesses ask for review because they want to use it to get better. Invest in self-development. Buy books. Buy books. See counselors. Let people come to you that can help you. Come to people that can help you develop your mind. A neutral party that can help you see what you are not seeing. That's the best way to develop. Make consistent small improvement. No improvement is small. What you see today, you can improve on it tomorrow and become better at it. Another one is emotional neglect. When you say, oh, I'm too busy, I think this is pertinent to men. Most of the time, they say, I'm too busy. At least I provide. What else do you want? Okay, what if your wife can even provide for the needs of the house more than yourself? Then of what use are you as the husband in the house? So you need to understand the place of emotional balance in the house. You are busy, create time for your family. It's not about you throwing money at everything. What it takes to be a husband, what it takes to be a wife is more than cooking food and giving money. The first reason why marriage was created in itself is for companionship. It is not good for this man to be alone. So the reason why marriage was created is for companionship from outset. Every other thing that's been done in marriage is secondary. So if you ignore the primary and you focus on the secondary, at the end of the day, the secondary does not have the capability to sustain the marriage when you neglect the primary, sustain the marriage when you neglect the primary. In other words, when we look at colors, we have primary colors, we have secondary color. Every secondary color that we appreciate today, we are all created from primary color. So ignore primary and focus on secondary, then you discover when secondary fail, you cannot reproduce the primary from the secondary. In other words, it is impossible for you to focus on the secondary purpose of marriage and enjoy it. If you lose on that was why I emphasized on, that was why I emphasized on communication the other time. The moment you start losing the companionship in the home, the moment you start seeing the signs, run to someone who can help you to get that vibe back. If not, there is fire on the mountain. Because that's the primary reason why marriage was created, companionship. Every other thing around marriage is secondary. If we don't have time for all that, what else do you have time for? Am I saying you should not do your job? Am I saying you should not, you should not go on with your career? I've just spoken about growth now and how growth in career can affect how the home function. So if you are all about the career and not balancing it with your home, a time will come when the person will feel emotionally neglected to the point where anybody around them that show them a little emotion become a solace for them. That's why some people go to their house girl or to their house boy, or they have toy boy, or they have what they call it, aristos. There should be a place of balance where, as you grow professionally, as you grow personally, as you grow in your life, there is a place of emotional balance in your home. Because if there is no emotional balance, the emotional tank of the other person is depleting while yours is getting filled in another place. And I always make a joke that the reason why I believe Eve the reason why I believe Eve ate the fruit in the Garden of Eden was simply because Adam was not listening to her enough. Because if Adam has been listening to her, she wouldn't have time to go and sit down with the devil who is ready to listen to her. It's just a joke, though. That is not biblical and it's not written anywhere in the Bible. But that's a joke I do crack. The mistake that I believe was made in the Garden of Eden was there was no listening husband. If there was a listening husband, the wife would not need to go out for another person to listen to her. In other words, what I'm saying is, if you are not listening as a husband and you are not emotionally available as a husband, she will go out to anybody that will listen to her, and people might lead them astray. And the same thing goes to the wife. If you don't listen, if you emotionally neglect him, he will look for that emotional value, that emotional acceptance in another place, in another thing. That's why when there's emotional absence, some people go into their job, they start working overtime, working night and day, just for them to fill that gap that is in them. As I'm sorry if you're a Muslim here, as Christians, Holy Spirit can come in this place to fill the void. But that companionship of a wife, companionship of a husband, there is a place that there is. I'm looking for the right word to use. There is a special place for it. So if you find yourself in emotional neglect, first thing you need to do in that family to restore your home is schedule intentional time together. I said it earlier, open day. Another thing is show appreciation regularly, even for little things. Reintroduce fun and shared experiences. One of the things people say, leave me alone, John. We are not kids again. We are not kids anymore. Because you are married for how many years now, you are saying you are not kids anymore. I don't believe I don't believe that. Sometimes take yourself to that point where you met before. It rekindles the love. It makes you feel even better. Go on holiday. Leave the kids with their grandparents. Leave the kids with people that you know they are safe with. The two of you alone, travel, explore, have fun together. I read a story of a man. They moved into their new house and they saved up to buy new sofa in the chair. But the wife has always wanted to travel to a holiday destination. But the man said, "But we need to buy this chair. We need to buy this chair." But the woman insisted. The man obliged. They went on the holiday. And the man was reminiscing on that holiday 20 years later. And he said, "I thank my wife that we went on that holiday because I still live on the experience of that holiday till today because I feel good each time I remember the experience. The chair we were supposed to buy, the sofa we were supposed to buy then is out of date now. But the feeling that I had on that holiday is still valid till today." In other words, when you have money, buy what will last, not what will not last. I'm not saying don't buy sofa, don't buy luxury, but I'm saying when you want to spend on your marriage, spend on creating experiences, not just buying things. And it's not about the things you bought for each other that matter. It is the feeling, the experience that those things create. Learn to surprise. I'm adding to some of the things you can do. Surprise each other. Those things stay. It lingers in the mind. And it makes them feel loved, accepted. Entitlement and scorekeeping. I'll move very fast on this. A lot of people, they say, "Oh, after everything I've done for you," they are entitled because they've done something to you. Now, because this mostly happened it happens, sorry, in marriages where a poor person marry into a rich home. I'm not saying all the time, but when things like this happen, a poor person marry into a rich home. Like, after everything I've done for you, I brought you out of the gutter. I know these things do happen. Or maybe when the husband's business, when your partner's business is struggling, and you come through for them, and you are holding on to that okay, all the rest of their life, they must worship you, bow at your feet. I believe that in itself is not overly correct. Am I saying the person should not be appreciative? No. What I'm saying is, when you do things for them, don't see what you do for your partner. Don't see what you do for your husband as you doing it for them. You are doing it to yourself. I should see the glory of the husband on how elegant and radiant your wife look. Then I should see the perfection of a good helper on the husband. When I sight the husband, I will know how good and how helpful the wife is in the house. When you invite people to come and speak, the first thing "Oh, we thank your wife because we can see that your wife is doing well." What you do to your husband is your own accolade. It brings glory to you. What you do for your wife brings glory to you. So you are not doing it for them, you are doing it for yourself. So the moment you start flipping it and you start keeping score that, oh, I've done this for you, you owe me, I did this, then you should do that, that in itself is a fault, is a mindset and a misconception that has come from the environment where some people grow up. Like I said, there are three things that form how people see life: their nature, which is maybe their personality, their person, maybe as a sanguine, melancholy, and all those, just personality, their nurture, how they were raised, the environment where they were raised, and the third one is the significant emotional experiences that they've been through in life. Look at what you are doing right now through those three lenses, then you will know where the problem is from. Then you can go back and listen to the first January and February edition that we did. Then you will know how to solve these issues. So what am I saying in essence? Don't be entitled. Whatever you do for your partner, you are doing it for yourself, not for them. So if you find yourself doing this, what do? Give without condition. Express appreciation often. Focus on connection over fairness. Anything you do for them, you are connecting with them. Then discuss your feelings openly. So if I give you something and you don't feel I appreciate it enough, ask, oh, is it that you don't like it? I can see the way you responded when I gave it to you. You didn't respond the way you should. Is it that you don't like it? And they will be able to tell you, oh, I like it. Or you say, or they tell you, I like it, I appreciate it. But maybe next time you could just make it blue. I like blue more. Now you've understood that. You've taken cognizance of that. Next time when you're buying something for them, you surprise them with blue. Like I said this in our last session, you don't love the people the way you feel they should be loved. You love people the way they want to be loved. So that's where the discussion of feeling and the openness comes in. So let them express how they feel about what you've given them. Let them express how they made you feel or how you made them feel without you finding offense in it. And lastly, I want to talk about boundaries and external influence. Sometimes when people say, my family comes first. Maybe the husband is saying, my family comes first, or the wife is saying, my family comes first. Sorry, you've just created another family, and that family comes first. So it's a misconception that most people say, oh, I can't do without my family. If you leave me now, it is my family that will take care of me. Why are you thinking that your wife will leave you in the first place? That it in itself is an error, is a commitment problem. The fact that you are thinking that your wife or your husband will leave you is a commitment error. You even being able to conceive that thought is a sign that there is something wrong with the marriage already. So if you say your family comes first, so now the one that you are in now, what is it? Is it your is that one not your family? So you've left your father and your mother's house. She has left her father and mother's house. You've come together to become one. And now you are thinking about the family you left behind, that they come first. No, it doesn't work that way. You are now an ancestor on your own because you are starting a new family tree. So that family matters and it comes first. Now, another thing is, it's just harmless chat. It's just a harmless chat. I'm just chatting with her. Oh, she's my ex. We don't even talk. I can't even see her. What you are sending, the message you are sending to your wife or your husband, when you talk with people they don't want you to talk with, or they don't want you to spend time with. When you do that, what you are telling them is your opinion does not matter, or I don't need you to tell me what to do, or you don't have a say in my life, is a sign of disrespect to them. So if I say, though I don't really like you around this person, and I'm saying this because I need to bring a balance to it. There are some narcissists that want you to lose every connection around you so that they can isolate you and deal with you. That's not what I'm talking about. It is not, when you start seeing that there's a man or a woman that wants you to lose all your friends and all connection around you, that one is something that you should, put a searchlight on and be sure they are not narcissists. But if it is just one particular person out of multitude of people, that this person, I suspect this person, don't move with this person again. Or I don't want you around this person, it's not nice. And they give you reasons why they don't want you around that person. Why won't you listen to them? And just see the reason, let them show you the reason why they said you should not move with that person. So create that boundary. So some people, they have the misconception that it's just a harmless chat, or they believe, oh, I can control myself. Or the common one, they're just overreacting. What makes you feel he or she is overreacting? That's a misconception that can quietly destroy a home. So if you say I'm overreacting, I ignore until you fall into the situation. And when you fall into the situation, I can have a reason to walk out of the marriage. Why not have a discussion about it? You say, oh, there's nothing wrong with a little flirting. I'm only flirting with her. Have you seen me gone out with her? No, it starts with a spark. The house that burnt down didn't start with a raging fire. It started with just a little spark. So if you find yourself in boundary issues, number one is you need to learn to prioritize your partner. Set clear boundaries. The two of you need to sit down. Know, okay, this is the extent I want you to go to opposite sex. Sometimes you need to help each other. Okay, a person that has been cheated on before they married you, they've forgotten about it, they've healed, but now they are seeing you move with a particular person that dropped you yesterday, or you dropped them at home yesterday, today, tomorrow, and every other day of the week. What you are doing is you are trying to scratch the wound that has healed, and you are trying to create a new one. So if they want you to set clear boundaries, have a conversation about it. Let them give you the boundaries that they want you to go, not to, exceed. And let them give you a reason why. I'm not saying command them or they command you. Have a roundtable discussion about it. And if you are not married, these are the things you should discuss about before you get married. Take concern seriously. If your spouse is concerned about something, if your partner is concerned about something, let them explain the reason why they are concerned about those things. And lastly, protect your relationship privacy. If you don't protect your relationship's privacy, there is high probability you might hand over your family to the hand of someone that will help you sink the boat. I once worked with a family. They were married for about 3-4 years, thereabouts, not like 3 years. And the wife came to me and was telling me, you know what, I'm just tired of this marriage and I'm going out and I'm moving out of this home. And I'm like, why do you want to move? Why do you keep talking about moving out of the home? You said, oh, the man is cheating. He is really cheating, blah, blah, blah. And I called her. I let her express herself. Because that's one thing I always do to my client. I want you to express yourself the way you feel so that we'll know where to start from. And this lady expressed herself to the fullest. And I told her, I said, who told you to move out? I just asked her. And she said, everybody I told said that thing is the reason why I should move out. I said, fine. One of the reasons why a marriage should end or a marriage can end is infidelity. But is there anywhere it is written in all the book that marriage must end after infidelity. She said, none. I said, do you want your marriage? She said, yes. We worked together. She's in the home now. She was telling me like 2 months ago when we spoke, she said, I've never seen my husband in that light before. Eventually, we discovered that immediately after childbirth, she had a tear. And since then, sex has become detestable to her. She doesn't want to have sex again because she doesn't feel good after childbirth. That was the reason why the problem was happening. The man said for the past, immediately she gave birth, 6 months after the wife, she did not allow him touch her. And he said 6 months, becoming 7, 8 months, maybe once in a month. That's the only time the wife is allowing him touch her. This became a serious problem. That was what pushed the man to go outside. So what I did for the two of them, referred them to a sex therapist who works with them. Now, the man that does not do house chore for the past 3 years that they've been married, now does house chore, wash plate, wash clothes, do everything in the house because he's happy. So these are some of the things that, help. That's why I always say, protect your relationship privacy. When you need to talk to someone that can help you, not someone that will destroy that relationship even more. This is the takeaway from all this. When you change what you say about your marriage, you've changed how you think about your home. Then you will be able to change what you see about your home and your relationship. Thank you very much for listening. So, is there any question? This brings us to the end of our session. Is there any question so I can address that now? If you have question, you can drop it in the chat box, or you say it. You can unmute yourself if you have any question.
Okay, good evening. Thank you very much for today's session. So here's my question. During the beginning of the session, you mentioned something about family routine, something as a family sitting down to resolve conflicts with their children telling their parents something that they did not like politely and all of that.
Yeah.
So what happens when that system has not been there for like the children in the family, and the children are all grown up now? They are like 27 years. The last born in the house is like 27 years old or 30. And but there's still that thing of, oh, I don't want to go home when my dad is around. I don't want to see my dad and all. And this person claims that, oh, they've healed and they are fine and they're okay and they want to do better. They're able to they are aware of the things that went wrong in their own family and they want to do better for their own personal family that they are building. They claim they've healed and all of that. But there's still that part of, I don't want to go when this person is around. There's still that headache. I don't have time for the drama, and or if I can leave the house for like 2 3 years, fine. That I don't have to go back. So what's like at that age everybody's grown up. So what's like the, I don't know if it's solution or something like that for that kind of situation? It's easy when they are still under the parents, maybe college and all of that. It's still easy to like men. And I feel like our parents, like the I don't know if I should say Yoruba parents, because I've spent a lot of time studying some Igbo parents, and I think it's a little bit different than Yoruba parents, especially from my own side. They feel like, oh, this is we're doing the best for you. You have to. So there's not the thing where you can easily walk up to your parents and then express, oh, this is what is happening, this is what is going on. And then in this person's case, there's the case of the, oh, we have labored over you, are your parents, you have to do some certain things. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, if I understand your question properly, what you're saying is, oh, their dad has done something for them. They claim to have healed, but yet they don't want to see the man. Is that what you are trying to say? And
Yes,
how
exactly.
can those kind of things be remedied? I'll say first, the person might have healed from the situation, but there is still a part of them that is still craving to express how they feel. That's how they avoid. So, and the thing is, the danger there is if they've learned avoidance from the way they coped with what their dad did to them, there is high probability that there might be traces of avoidance in them when they get married. So sometimes we need to face our fear. At some point, I had to tell my dad to his face that there are some mistakes you made raising us. My dad is so strict that I offended in school. I offended my dad in school. I offended, sorry, in school. And they said they were going to call my dad, and I fainted in school. I went to the hospital. They carried me to the hospital from the school. When I saw my dad beside the hospital bed, when I woke up, I fainted again. Because I know if I don't die in school, I will die when I get home. So those kind of situation, there needs to be a time when you face that situation head on and tell your dad, create an avenue. Maybe you can organize a family reunion, then you have an inside meeting. Now, at least you've grown to the point where daddy cannot beat you again. There is a way you can politely, as a child, say it that this and this and this are the things that you did, and it really hurt us. Like I said, don't attack the person. Talk about the situation. There is a friend of mine that almost the same thing happened to. Their mom demonized their dad to them, and she was preparing to get married. Their mom demonized their dad to them, and she's finding it difficult to even entrust, herself to the dad. Sorry, to the new person that she's getting married to. She's finding it difficult to entrust herself to the person. Then I called her, I said, you know what, come. You've known this man as a wicked man all your life. Can you try just one day and ask the man about everything he has done to your mom that warrants your mom to tell him all those things? You know what happened? After the conversation with the dad, she was crying when she called me that I ought to have listened to my dad 10 years ago. Probably I would have turned out better as a child. So there is still that part of you that always crave to be listened to. Maybe if the person calm down, look for an avenue, maybe they go for Christmas, all of them at home, they call their dad and they are able to talk to the dad, talk with the dad. Maybe if they know the dad's perspective, it might help them to even know how to handle the situation better, or how to extend grace to the dad. Most of the time we castigate our parents for what they did. But what I always say is if they know better, they would have done better. So have I answered your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Is there any other question? You can drop him in the chat box or you ask directly. Is there any other question? So if there's no other question, I want to appreciate everyone for joining our session today, and I'll see you